Hey, what's up, everybody? Right now, it's January 5th, 2019, 6:55 p.m. I'm saying this because I don't think I'll end up uploading this video today. I might end up uploading it tomorrow afternoonish just because I have to do a lot of WWE watching, and I don't know if I feel like doing all that WWE watching, so I may split them up um, in this video up and watch two shows today and then watch two shows tomorrow. Which one of the shows will be start today and carry into tomorrow, but whatever. But I'm here to give you guys, um, hopefully, my final WWE All Talk video for a while, so because I'll end up being caught up on the main roster. I actually lied; it won't be my final WWE All Talk video for a while because um, I'm probably going to do one for this week's Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, and main event coming up. So be on the lookout for those. Or for that video, anyways. But yeah, hopefully after this video, I'll be caught up at least with the main roster portion um, of WWE. What I'll be covering obviously is Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, and main event. Which this video could get very confusing because Raw took place on New Year's Eve, and then I'll have to remember that all of the other shows take place in 2019. But I have a feeling I'm going to end up saying 2018 and slip up on one of the shows. Don't know which show it will be. I just got to make sure that it's the right show I say 2018 for. Um, but I'm pretty excited to watch these shows. The WWE main roster product has been good, but it's been a hell of a lot better than it's been, last month. So I'm happy about that. Um, I'm just gonna do like a small preview for each show. For Raw, I'm excited to watch that because John Cena's coming back. He's gonna be on both Raw and SmackDown. I'm really not that excited that John Cena's coming back because, um, for obvious reasons, but I won't go into those reasons. But it is what it is. And since he's a free agent, he gets to be on both shows because he's just so damn great, apparently. And then you have also on Raw, we're going to have a steel cage match. It's going to be Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre. I'm really excited to see that match. This is the first match I'm actually going to see of them, since they split up because the past two Raws where they didn't face off, I wasn't watching Raw because it was shit. So, yeah. But I'm excited to watch that match. I hope they give the win to Drew McIntyre, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And then we have for SmackDown, I believe the only thing that I really know that's advertised is John Cena is going to be there. That's the only thing I know. 205 Live, we're going to have the first two Royal Rumble Cruiserweight Championship Fatal 4-Way qualifying match. Jizz, because obviously we know that Buddy Murphy's defended his Cruiserweight Championship in a Fatal 4-Way match. And we're going to have qualifying matches for it. The first match is going to be Kalisto versus Leo Rush. Well, at least I think it's going to be the first match. I hope that's the main event of the show because that's more of a main event worthy match to me. And the second match is going to be Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. I expect all these matches to be great. Gulak and Tozawa obviously have had great chemistry in the past. I'm really interested to see Kalisto versus Leo Rush, obviously, because that's a fresh matchup we haven't seen before. And then I don't really know what's in store for main event. I only care because it's main event, but I'll give it a watch. So, because I have Hulu, and I figured it would help me use the Hulu account. So, yeah, that's pretty much the preview for all the shows. Let's get right into this video. What I'll pretty much do is I'll watch each show, and after each of the shows, I'll make small reviews of it, and then just combine them all into a big video. So that's pretty much how this video will go. And now that I've gone through the video, let's actually get into Monday Night Raw. Okay, so starting off with the New Year's Eve edition of Monday Night Raw, which aired on December 30th. Well, actually, I messed up the date. It's supposed to say December 31st, 2018, because there's 31 days in December. Screwed that up, but I'm just going to keep on going with this video. We had Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Renee Young on commentary for this show. And ironically enough, Raw actually opened up with a wrestling match, which Never happens. It typically opens up with this 20-minute promo segment, but no, this time it opened up with a wrestling match. So maybe, just maybe, this new era, this shakeup we're gonna get, maybe is real because that's never happened before. Just maybe. Um, but they did break down the Royal Rumble card in the beginning of the show, though, for a little bit, which I actually really didn't have an issue with because probably a lot of people didn't tune into the Christmas edition, Eve edition of Raw, so I kind of liked how they did that. Um, they announced the two Rumble matches, and obviously the Universal Championship match with Brock Lesnar defending against Braun Strowman. Thus far, we had known that Drew McIntyre was going to be in the men's Royal Rumble match because obviously he's a man. He's going to go into the men's Royal Rumble match. He's not going to go into the women's Royal Rumble match. But stranger shit has happened. Um, and that was pretty much about it. Drew McIntyre too had announced it last week, but I forgot to talk about it last week because I'm forgetful. So yeah. Well, let's talk about the wrestling match we had to kick off the show. It was a steel cage match, Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre. I thought it was a hell of a match. It was definitely my favorite match on this show. Wasn't my favorite thing on this show, but it was my favorite match on this show. Um, and I thought these two guys really pulled it out. I liked that they had a story that I actually cared about, and obviously I like that type of stuff in my wrestling matches where there's a storyline. I'm invested in the storyline, and it makes me more invested in wrestling. So that's a nice thing. Dolph Ziggler tries to escape the cage right away, but Drew McIntyre stops him. He hits a wicked suplex on him, completely dropping him, throws him into the cage a little bit, and then Dolph Ziggler gets control for a little bit. And when McIntyre tries to escape, Ziggler crotches him onto the ropes. They both actually got crotched on the ropes. Ziggler got crotched on the ropes first. And well, they both pretty much just went back and forth. They both tried to escape through the door, but they both prevented each other from escaping through the door. McIntyre hit a wicked glass go kiss, which is his headbutt on Dolph Ziggler. And then Ziggler did the same thing to him, and later on, when he tried to escape through the door, McIntyre went for the reverse Alabama slam, but Ziggler counted into a roll-up. Ziggler hit a wicked super kick, but McIntyre kicked out of that. And then McIntyre hit a wicked vertical suplex off the top of the steel cage, and then he ended up hitting a suplex, setting Ziggler back first into the cage, and he just started talking trash to Dolph Ziggler. And Ziggler laid him out with the zigzag, and he got the cover. McIntyre kicks out, and then McIntyre hits a Claymore kick out of nowhere, and just for good measure, he hits a second Claymore kick on him and gets the win. I was very happy by pinfall, obviously. I was very happy McIntyre went over, and he looked really strong going over in this matchup. During this matchup, too, Finn Balor was watching it, which made sense because he's been feuding with these two guys throughout the past few weeks. But even though this is a new era, the wrestlers still don't know how to watch a television properly. So, new era, same way to watch TV, apparently. And then afterwards, Dolph Ziggler, when Drew McIntyre's leaving, um, is talking trash to Drew McIntyre, saying, "Is that all you got?" So he goes and grabs a steel chair and beats on Ziggler some more, and he Claymore kicks him with the chair right into his face. And afterwards, he gets on the mic and says that Dolph Ziggler should have just stayed down because he allowed him to pick up his scraps, but he said that Ziggler's not even good enough for his scraps anymore. And he said that now he's proven that he's the top dog on Raw, and at the Royal Rumble, he's going to prove that he's the top dog when he wins the Royal Rumble match and challenges for the WWE Universal Championship. And then afterwards, Ziggler is sitting in the steel chair, and McIntyre sees us on the Titantron or the screen because they don't really call it the Titantron anymore. And he goes back into the ring, and he hits another Claymore kick on Dolph Ziggler. And that was that. I thought this was really good. Like I said, I thought it made McIntyre just look like an absolute star. He looked like an absolute badass and a threat to be reckoned with, which was very needed because he's really, had a couple of big losses as of late. So I thought this was a really good way to reestablish him. And I really hope 2019 is Drew McIntyre's year. And then a limo arrives. It's Triple H and Shane McMahon. which is kind of funny because obviously you hear the things that they have heat in real life, and it's kind of funny to see them two together. And superstars give their New Year's resolutions. I don't really remember who did it first because I'm just going to mention all the superstars that did it, but I don't really remember like the order because I'll be the heat's been cranking all day, and I might have fallen um, either fallen asleep on this and stuff. So I am going to look that up real quick because I have a feeling that I will forget. Okay, so it was Finn Balor. He said he wants to be the new Universal Champion, which I'd imagine this means he's entering the Royal Rumble match. Ember Moon, she said she wants to be prove why she is the She-Nom, which I hate that name. And she said she's going to do that by entering the Women's Royal Rumble. And I think the Lucha House Party said they wanted to be like the top tag. Well, the Ascension said their goal was to win the Raw Tag Team titles, and they do a comedy bit where Victor says he wants to bring back the Fashion Files, and Connor's like, no. I thought it was really lame. And then the Lucha House Party just say they want to make 2019 Lucha Year or something. The Lucha House Party was kind of funny, I guess, because, I don't know. I liked these, though. I liked the Finn Balor and Ember Moon one, but I didn't like the Ascension and Lucha House Party one. And then Seth Rollins comes out and cuts a promo, and he said that he's not big on New Year's resolutions, but um, the year's not over yet, and he doesn't care. He's gonna wait, but he's gonna wait before the ball. He's not gonna wait until the ball drops. He wants his contractually obligated rematch clause against Dean Ambrose right now for the Intercontinental Championship. And he calls him out, but Dean Ambrose doesn't come out and ends up being instead Triple H. And apparently Seth Rollins didn't get the memo that on the Christmas on not the Christmas Eve edition, but a couple episodes of Raw prior to that. Shane McMahon, announced that there's going to be no more contractually obligated rematch clauses. But Triple H comes out there and reiterates that and says that nobody is going to be awarded anything. You have to earn your opportunities here and now, which I like that there's no more rematches because that's how it should be. You should earn your rematches, not just be handed a rematch. So then, Seth Rollins, though, demands Dean Ambrose. And then Triple H talks about how Seth Rollins hasn't been the same. He used to be the architect. He used to own Raw, and now he's a shell of of his former self. And Triple H said that he one point saw something in Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins says, you probably did because you saw me as your puppet. And then Triple H said, no, because you said that you could take this Raw as your own. And well, actually, no, that's also not what happened. Is when Seth Rollins too got offended when Triple H said that he's been a show for himself, and Seth Rollins even talked about how he's been tearing down the house on Raw while Brock Lesnar was sitting at home, and he got great matches out of everybody, even Mojo Rawley, which I liked that shot. And then Triple H went on, and Triple H said that he believed in Seth Rollins because he believed he could make this show his, and he did it all by himself. And even when he slowly doubted him, he proved me again when we faced off at WrestleMania 33. So he wants to see the Seth Rollins that is willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants. And then Seth Rollins really starts to go off and says that he's going to take out anybody that gets in his way. He's going to take out Dean Ambrose. He's going to take out Brock Lesnar and take the Universal title from him. And if the McMahon family gets in his way, he'll take them out. And Triple H is happy because he got exactly what he wanted. And Triple H puts him in a match with Bobby Lashley. Afterwards, Shane McMahon comes out and announces, because he sees like it's going to get tense between those two, so he tries to hold them back. And he announces a fresh start battle royal where the winner will face Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship later on in the show. I love this segment, though. This was my favorite segment of the night. I thought this Triple H Seth Rollins segment kicked so much ass, and I love things that kick ass. But obviously in WWE, you can't kick too much ass or else it loses, so can't have any of that. But I still love this. It was great. So we had the Fresh Start Battle Royal. I have the participants written down. It was Finn Balor, No Way Jose, Kalisto, Grand Metalik, Lince Dorado, Apollo Crews, Mojo Rawley, Tyler Breeze, Curtis Axel, Bo Dallas, Zack Ryder, Titus O'Neil, Connor, Victor, Kurt Hawkins, and Baron Corbin. So pretty much the main stars of the match were probably Lucha House Party, I would say. Um, Baron Corbin and Finn Balor probably because they're the ones that have been pushed the most. Everybody else was kind of just there. But I thought it was a good battle royal. I enjoyed it. Apollo Crews eliminates No Way Jose right away, and then he eliminates, I think it was Connor right away, or Victor. I don't remember which one it was. And Apollo Crews looked like a star in this match. He eliminated 8 people in this match. He eliminated, Titus O'Neil, not Titus O'Neil, but Mojo Rawley, Tyler Breeze. He picked him up and threw him into a bunch of guys. He eliminated both members of the B team. So I thought he looked pretty strong out there. Lucha House Party eliminated Titus O'Neil, and Grand Metalik went to do the tightrope walking move, but Finn Balor knocked him off, and then he knocked off Lince Dorado and Kalisto. And then Baron Corbin eliminated Finn Balor out of nowhere, which I thought that kind of sucked. And Zack Ryder got eliminated by Baron Corbin. And it came down to the final 3, which was Baron Corbin, Kurt Hawkins, and Apollo Crews. And Kurt Hawkins, had this moment where he thought he could have won this match. They kind of teased that, but Baron Corbin just eliminated him. And then Apollo Crews had 2 Insecurities on Baron Corbin and eliminated him. And Apollo Crews wins the Battle Royal and becomes the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship, who the champion, Dean Ambrose, was watching backstage on the TV, not properly. Then afterwards, Apollo Crews gets interviewed, and he says that he feels great because this is the opportunity he's been asking for, and with this new shakeup, he said that he's going to make the most of this opportunity and end 2018 winning the Intercontinental Championship. I thought he cut a hell of a promo afterwards, so there's that. I enjoyed the Battle Royal. I thought it was good. And then Natalya gets interviewed, and she gets asked about what's next after everything that happened with the Raw Women's title match in the Christmas Eve edition of Monday Night Raw. She says that 2018 was a very up and down year for her, but she's going to make 2019 a better year by entering the Women's Royal Rumble and challenging for the women's title, either the Raw or the SmackDown one at WrestleMania. And then Nia Jax comes up and said she may derail her plans because she might be the champion and she might get laid out. And then Tamina and Nia Jax beat the crap out of her. It was pretty bad. I didn't really care for this. Then Baron Corbin's cutting a promo, and he doesn't think it's fair the way he's been treated when he was the Raw general manager elect, and even now. And then he gets interrupted by Elias. I did like how he kind of used the Detroit Heat by saying that, Baron Corbin, when he was in charge, didn't want to bring Monday Night Raw to Detroit, and he called it a crap hole city or something. And he sings a song about Baron Corbin, making fun of him. So this causes Baron Corbin to charge at him, and they get into a brawl. Baron Corbin beats him up for a while, and then they fight into the crowd. Baron Corbin throws some sort of drink in his... Not Baron Corbin, Elias throws some sort of drink in his face, and he starts kicking Baron Corbin's ass. He takes an equipment box crate and shoves it and traps Corbin in the barricade and beats him up some more, and eventually Baron Corbin just runs away because Elias is kicking his ass, and he can kick as much ass as he wants because it's not a match, so there you go. I thought this was fine. It sets up a feud between Elias and Baron Corbin, which was long overdue because when Elias did turn face, it was on Baron Corbin, so I don't know why they didn't just go with that feud, but whatever. I was fine with this. Then we had more New Year's resolutions. Zack Ryder wants to have more matches on Raw and have all the new WWE action figures. The Wyatt Squad say that people make New Year's resolutions but don't stick to them because they get pressured and they're going to be that pressure. It's a pretty bad promo. And then somebody else said their New Year's resolutions, but I don't remember because I didn't write down who were doing these promos. I think it was Bobby Roode and Not Bobby Roode, sorry. AOP and Drake Maverick said that they're going to lay devastation upon the Raw Tag Team division until they get the Raw Tag Team titles back, and that was pretty much it. And then we had the Riot Squad versus Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Ember Moon. Boring match. It lasted forever. I didn't really pay attention to it. It was boring. Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Ember Moon win when Sasha Banks does the backstabber on Sarah Logan, and Bayley does an elbow drop on her for the win. There was a spot in this match where I think somebody had got hurt or something in real life, because you could hear the wrestlers ask each other if they were okay, which I thought was kind of funny. I went back and rewinded it a couple of times. That was probably the most interesting thing in this match. And then it had a video package for Braun Strowman showing everything that he did this year to kind of hype him up for his Universal title match at WrestleMania, because he couldn't be at Raw. So this Raw actually was taped. It wasn't live. I think it was, I don't know exactly when it was taped, but it was taped. Then we had Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush. Seth Rollins got the jobber entrance, which means he wasn't winning. Typically, though, like, if a guy's already had an entrance on the show, he won't get an entrance again later on in the night, though, but still kind of got the jobber entrance. Lio Rush does a promo saying that Bobby Lashley is going to destroy Seth Rollins, and he's going to do his new pose, and everyone will have to kiss his butt, which was kind of funny that he said butt, because usually they say kiss my ass, but whatever. They had a pretty good match. I feel like they're capable of having a better match, but this was kind of more setting up an angle. What happens is Lio Rush keeps interfering in this match, so Seth Rollins eventually gets frustrated. He tries to catch Lio Rush. Lio Rush keeps escaping, and eventually he does catch him. And Seth Rollins just loses his mind. He grabs a chair and he just beats the crap out of Lio Rush and Seth. Well, yeah, he doesn't beat the crap out of himself with the chair. That'd be a problem. He beats the crap out of Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley with the chair, and he lays out Lio Rush with the stomp. And I thought this was great. It was awesome to see Seth Rollins do this. I don't know why they didn't end the show with this. This would have been a kick-ass way to end Raw, but it is what it is. I thought it was awesome, though. And then we had more vignettes for the superstars that are on the way, which is, I'll just say it again. Lars Sullivan, he had a new vignette. Just check it out. It's on YouTube. I'm not going to go based off what he said. Lacey Evans, Heavy Machinery, Nikki Cross, and EC3. I can't wait to see them come on the main roster. Because, like I said, it's a new era. Hopefully this time the NXT call-ups will get utilized to their potential. If I had to guess, though, which ones will, I think EC3 will do well. I think Lars Sullivan will do well, because I think, the WWE machine like the big, tall, muscular men, and Lars Sullivan fits the bill. I could see Heavy Machinery do well, because Otis Dozovic, I just think will have the ability, no matter what kind of crap the WWE gives him, he's going to take that and just run with it, just because he's such a goof in real life. And Lacey Evans might do well, because she kind of has like the WWE look that they like. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, though. Then we had Jinder Mahal and the Sin Brothers versus Beauty and the Man Beast. Jinder Mahal and the Sin Brothers won when Jinder Mahal hits the Colossus on Rhino. Heath Slater was like, had his arm taped, but I don't know if he's hurt in real life or if it's just an angle, but it was very interesting. Like, he really wasn't using his left arm that much. Yeah, Jinder Mahal won, and the Sin Brothers win was woohoo. I thought it was kind of a waste, that Rhino they did the storyline with Rhino, and they already jobbed him out, so it was just stupid. Dean Ambrose is backstage, and he cuts a promo saying that he's still going to take everything from Seth Rollins, and that he's not going to let Apollo Crews take his Intercontinental Championship from him. I like the new heel Dean Ambrose, but I really wish it just feels like he's just the same gimmick, and I don't really like this germaphobe thing they're doing with him, so whatever. We have more New Year's resolutions. They used this to set up a Raw Tag Team title match between Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus the Revival, which I like that they kind of use it to set up an angle. I hope they actually put the tag team titles on the Revival. I'm kind of not really a fan of them. I'm just doing the match again next week on Raw, which is obviously this upcoming week, but whatever. And then obviously the Boss and Hug Connection, which is a terrible tag team name, that's Bayley and Sasha Banks, said that they're going to become the first ever women's tag team titles. So they are going to bring in the women's tag team titles. They are talking about it a lot more now, which I'm happy about. I don't think we're going to get an announcement about it until after the Royal Rumble, and they'll do some sort of big tournament. What I've decided to think about doing is maybe do some sort of fantasy booking, coming up with a tournament to produce. Because I'd imagine what's going to happen is they're going to make this exclusive to all the brands, which is going to be, probably Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and maybe NXT UK. Obviously not 205 Live because they don't have any women on 205 Live. And maybe what I do is, I think if I had to guess, it's probably going to be a 16-man elimination, 16-woman elimination tournament. So I'll come up with some teams and maybe try to fix that, because I think that would be actually pretty awesome. And I think they're going to bring some legends in from the past, too, so I think that'd be pretty cool. Then we had an Intercontinental Championship match, Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose versus Apollo Crews. I like the match, but I think what hurt the match is I really didn't suspend my disbelief that Dean Ambrose was going to lose this championship because, they're not going to take the belt off Dean Ambrose. I think that this was just kind of filler. But I thought Apollo Crews looked good. He had a lot of really impressive moves in this match, but eventually he misses a frog splash and loses to the Dirty Deeds. But they did like things, where he hit his finish and stuff and made us believe that he was going to win the Intercontinental title and stuff, and he looked very dominant. What I don't like, though, is that Ambrose got his ass kicked like half the match, and he hit his finish. And I typically don't mind this because it puts over the finisher, but Dean Ambrose didn't ping Apollo Crews for about 5 or 6 seconds after he hit his finish. So if that was going to be the case, it might have been 7, actually. Why to have Apollo Crews lose that easily? I thought it was just really stupid. It was the same problem they had at, TLC, where did the same thing, where Owens kicked his ass half the match, and he hit his finish, and he didn't get the pin for about 6 or 7 seconds afterwards. But I thought Apollo Crews looked good, and please keep this momentum. Don't just do this once with Apollo Crews and then never utilize him again. Build to this. Build on this. Feature him every week, because it's frustrating when they kind of do this type of crap where they'll feature a guy once. For example, when they gave that weird push to Mojo Rawley, which I don't like Mojo Rawley, but it's just an example I'm thinking of. And then he lost one match and stuff and was never featured again. Continue to feature Apollo Crews. Put him in feuds. Put him into some nice storylines. I think you could do some nice stuff with him. He's very talented. And Alexa Bliss is backstage, and she announces how 2018 was a great year for her and stuff. And she did bring up the fact that she made history being the first ever women's authority figure, which isn't true. It's technically Paige, considering the fact that she was the general manager of SmackDown, but I think she's a heel, so she's saying it in a heel way. And she's going to be the first woman to own her own talk show. I don't know if she'll be the first woman to own her own talk show, because that might not be right. I don't know if Renee Young's Unfiltered counts, but whatever. But she said her guest is going to be Alexa Bliss, and it's going to be no. The show's called A Moment of Bliss, and her guest is going to be Ronda Rousey. So I actually think this could be entertaining, because it's Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey. They're very good. I'd imagine what's going to happen is we're going to get some sort of setup with Ronda Rousey facing either Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble. Hopefully Charlotte Flair, because I want to see Becky at WrestleMania, but we have to wait and see. And then we have a video package for Brock Lesnar. It was good, but they don't really need to do video packages for Brock Lesnar because it's Brock Lesnar. Everybody knows how good he is. And then we had Natalya and Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax and Tamina. Fine main event. I thought Natalya and Ronda Rousey looked awesome in this match, and Tamina and Nia didn't because they suck. Ronda wins with the Yambo and Tamina, but it was a fine tag team match main event, and that was pretty much the end of Raw. And overall, I thought Raw was a really good show. I really enjoyed Raw. I know it doesn't seem like it because I didn't really go through things that in-depthly, but whatever. But I really enjoyed Raw. I think kind of towards like the Intercontinental Championship match is where they kind of lost me a little bit. I really don't think that main event should have been the women's match. The only reason I could come up with is that they put that match on last was because um, it was 11 o'clock and probably more people tuned in to like watch the ball drop. Um, so that's the only reason I could come up with is why they put that match on last. They didn't probably think a lot of people were going to be watching Raw at that time, so they kind of had to compete with that. But I thought Raw was really good. I really liked the Battle Royal. I did like the IC title match. I thought it was a good match. I liked Rollins versus. I liked everything they did with Seth Rollins on this show. I liked um, what they did with Drew McIntyre on the show with the cage match, and the New Year's resolutions like promos. I thought some of them were good. Um, and I obviously liked the video packages and stuff. And like I said, I don't think they expected a lot of people to watch this show because it's New Year's Eve. I have a feeling like WWE would start picking up again on this week's Raw, considering the fact that it's the first Raw of the year. They're not going up against a holiday or anything like that. So I do think WWE will start picking up again, and I'm really excited to watch Raw this week. We have a lot of good stuff coming. Um, I guess John Cena is going to return on Raw next week instead, which is obviously Monday. Which I'm not really excited about that for obvious reasons. Um, I guess like maybe he had some sort like it was really weird. I'm guessing like they couldn't he was doing something this day, so they couldn't schedule him for Raw that day. Um, I don't know what happened because he was supposed to be on both Raw and SmackDown this week. Um, but I don't know. And then you had I'm looking forward to the Revival versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for the Raw Tag Team titles. And I really hope they put the Raw Tag Team titles on the Revival, but that's wishful thinking. Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman are coming back next week, which I'm excited to see what they do with them. And there's something else on Raw, but I can't think of it. I think I covered everything. But I'm excited. Now, and I got to give my letter grade for Raw. I was going to give it a B plus, but the end of the show kind of knocked it down a couple of notches, so I'm going to give it just a regular old B. I still thought it was a really good show, but it was not quite a great show. It would have been a great show maybe if they maybe had main evented Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley at the end of the show, and instead, or maybe had Ambrose main event the show and Rollins come out and beat the crap out of him. But it is what it is. But overall, I thought this was a really good show, and I got to say, hopefully with these shows that this shakeup is real. I still have my doubts about it. Like I said, I'm not really going to make any conclusions until maybe mid-January, maybe after WrestleMania, because I have a feeling like they'll be this way until after WrestleMania, and then they'll completely forget about the shakeup and they'll move on to something else. But we'll have to wait and see if that happens. But obviously, that's another thing to talk about. So now that I've kind of gone through Raw, I'm going to go watch SmackDown, and when I'm done watching it, I will review SmackDown. Okay, so now on to the New Year's Day edition of SmackDown, which I wrote down the date on this one. It aired on January 1st, 2019, because of course it did, because the first of every year of a new year is the first of a year. So, yeah. We had Corey Graves, Tom Phillips, and Byron Saxon on commentary for this show, and we had the New Day's New Year's celebration. I thought this was pretty funny. I actually was laughing throughout. It was very fun. Big E was dressed like the New Year's baby, which was hilarious. And they made some jokes about the New Year's. They announced they're going to be in the Royal Rumble match, and they want to win it. And they talk about how they could, if one of them won it, they could challenge for both championships, the WWE Universal Championship and the WWE Championship. And they make a joke how they couldn't challenge Brock Lesnar because he's never there. And Kofi Kingston kind of like goes off on a tangent talking about how he's been here for 11 years, showing up consistently, and you can't even get a title match, which I thought was funny. And Big E actually did. I actually can't believe I almost forgot this. I was even thinking like there was something else when they were announcing the Royal Rumble. They were going over of how they win. And they did a reference to Scott Steiner using Steiner math. They did the exact same promo that he cut way back when in TNA, which I thought was hilarious. Um, if you haven't seen this promo, you could probably easily look this up by right in New Day references Scott Steiner. Probably it was hilarious, which makes me kind of want to see Scott Steiner back in WWE. I know, like, he's not the best wrestler and stuff, but I think it would be very interesting, and his promos are just so out there that it would be awesome. Um, and they talk about like their New Year's resolutions, um, and they make references about Bumblebee and Bird Box, which I have to watch Bird Box. I'm gonna probably watch that Monday, and have a review of that probably for my movie Monday reviews. Um, and then they make a joke about how the doctor said they've been eating too many pancakes, so they can't give them out anymore. And Big E's eating pancakes through his diaper, and he throws them to the crowd, and people have been taking them. And this was actually fun. And then they introduce the next match. It's going to be, Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe. And we had that match, and I'm just going to break that match down. So pretty much there's going to be um, a fatal five-way match where the winner becomes the number one contender for the WWE Championship. But only only four of the five guys were announced. So they booked a match between Jeff Hardy and Samoa Joe where the winner would get into the fatal five-way match. And I actually thought this was a good quality match here. Um, I really enjoyed it. Jeff Hardy targets Samoa Joe's leg in the beginning of the match and really works over his leg, but then eventually Samoa Joe takes his head off with a clothesline. He dominates the matchup for a while, and then Jeff Hardy makes a comeback, hits a twist of fate on him. He ends up hitting the swanton on Samoa Joe, but he rolls out of the ring. So Jeff Hardy goes to hit a drop kick through the ropes on him, but Joe catches him into a Corkina clutch, and he holds him out there for a while, and then he gets back in the ring. And this was really weird. So the referee was counting, and he was at 7, and then he talks to Samoa Joe, and this causes him to break his count, which that didn't make any sense at all, because typically, the rules is the count can only be broken if a wrestler goes in and then back out of the ring. So that didn't really make any sense. Because of this, Jeff Hardy beats the count going back into the ring, and then Joe just puts him back in the Corkina clutch, and Hardy passes out, and Samoa Joe gets into the fatal five-way match. I thought this was a very necessary win for Samoa Joe. He really hasn't had a big win in a while, so I thought it was very necessary, and I really liked the match. So I like this, all this stuff. And then the McMahons are backstage, and AJ Styles walks in and says that he probably should apologize for decking Vince McMahon in the face last week, or the last episode of SmackDown, but you get the point. But he said that he's not going to because Vince McMahon provoked him. And you wanted to see the real AJ Styles, and you got a taste of that. And you're gonna last week, and you're gonna get a taste of that tonight. And then he leaves, and Shane McMahon then says to his father that you wanted the real AJ Styles. Now you got him, but be careful what you wish for. And then that was it. I'm really intrigued to see where this new this real AJ Styles storyline goes. And I'll talk about that more when we talk about the Fatal 5-Way match, because the Fatal 5-Way match, I probably should mention, was between Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, um, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Mustafa Ali. So, yeah. Um, then we had Rusev's Day, and this pretty much is him getting interviewed, and he gets asked about winning the U.S. Championship, and he was really happy about it. And this was like one of the weirdest promos I ever heard in my life. He makes sex references about Lana. He talks about how he's really happy to win the U.S. Championship. It was just a really weird promo. I can't really like put into words about this promo, so you just have to go watch it for yourself. And he's pretty much, pro-America. He did say that he wants to defend the championship consistently, unlike Shinsuke Nakamura. And then he gets laid out by Shinsuke Nakamura with a knee to the back of the head, and he's attacking him. And Lana doesn't want to see her husband get attacked, so she goes on top of him, which I thought this was kind of weird because this was a very heel thing to do, but then they do end up turning it around. I can kind of relate to this because it's a woman sticking up for a husband, so I can kind of relate to this. And then Rusev hits a kick to the head of Nakamura, but this ends up knocking out Lana, so Rusev's checking on his wife, and Nakamura uses this to hit a knee to the side of the head, and then a Kinshasa on Rusev. And Nakamura stands tall, which is probably going to lead to a rematch, probably at Royal Rumble kickoff, or probably on like the SmackDown before the Royal Rumble. And then I'm going to guess that Shinsuke Nakamura isn't going to resign his contract. I don't really see him resigning. I don't think he likes this position in the company. I think he's going to end up leaving WWE and probably going back to New Japan or with All Elite Wrestling, probably. That's my guess. Obviously, that just recently launched. I don't think Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be with WWE much longer. Had they utilized him better, I think he would have been there for the long haul. But because they utilize him so shitty, I don't really think he's going to be in WWE much longer. And then we had Naomi versus Mandy Rose with Sonya Deville. At least we thought. What happened is she takes off her shirt, revealing that she was wearing an Uso t-shirt, and the whole match is Sonya Deville dominating Naomi, and anytime, because we find out that it's actually Sonya Deville in the match, and the whole time, anytime Naomi gets any momentum going, Mandy Rose cuts her off by trying to antagonize her by talking about her husband. She then gets on the mic and says that she was thinking about her husband or something, and sent like a nude picture of herself, which I wish she had sent that to me. And this causes Naomi to lose, and Sonya Deville hits a shitty suplex like into a spine buster for the win, and that was that. I don't like the storyline, and I'm just kind of like, fuck off. Then we had some New Year's resolutions. The Iconics want to be the first ever women's tag team champions. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson wants to get some new abs, and then they actually say their actual New Year's resolution is that they want to get rid of all the nerds on SmackDown, which, obviously the Superstar Shakeup could completely fuck up that New Year's resolution. Maybe they said all of WWE, I really don't remember. And Shelton Benjamin says exactly what I said in my channel update video, that, this is a bunch of bullshit, and everybody is going to break their New Year's resolution by the end of the month, which is probably most likely going to happen. So, but I still liked it. And then each of the guys in the Fatal 5-Way match, except for AJ Styles, did backstage promos. Randy Orton talked about how Rey Mysterio already knows what it's like to be a victim of his, and he's going to win the Fatal 5-Way match and make all of them his victims and make the WWE Champion his victim. Rey Mysterio says that he's conquered Randy Orton, and he said that he came back to WWE not just for nostalgia, not for the nostalgia act, but to become the WWE Champion once again. Mustafa Ali talked about how he may be the underdog in this match, but his Hulk got him through 205 Live, and he's going to utilize his Hulk to win the WWE Championship #1 Contenders match. And then later on in the night, Samoa Joe did a backstage promo, but I just kind of combined them all together because they're about the same thing. But we talked about how Jeff Hardy's addiction cost him to advance, and he said that it would end up being his gain, and he's going to utilize this to win the WWE Championship and choke out the WWE Champion. And because Samoa Joe was talking so much shit about Jeff Hardy in this backstage segment, this makes me think that feud is still going to continue, which I'm happy about that. But I thought all the backstage segments were good. They did a really good job building up to the Fatal 5-Way match. And then John Cena returns. Now, everybody probably knows what I'm about to say. John Cena really wasn't missed. He came. I'm just gonna say this. I probably, if you had asked me, could have predicted maybe word for word what John Cena was gonna say in this promo. This proves that time away does not hide John Cena's weaknesses. John Cena, the way he's portrayed, still sucks. The way his promos are structured still sucks. It's just brutal, and I think it's worse because they try to promote that he's the greatest of all time. And that WWE is his first love. When that isn't true, because the reason why he stayed so long is because he buried half the talent that could have been up and comers that they didn't have anybody else to rely on. That was it. That's why they always rushed him back anytime he got hurt. I'm kind of going off topic a little bit, but um, I think just the recent past couple of years, I've really just kind of soured on Cena because he comes out there now, and I could just feel like he just doesn't give a crap anymore, um, and that just pisses me off. Um, and yeah, John Cena wasn't missed in WWE. It just felt like this was just back to the status quo. Like literally, this is any John Cena promo, copy and paste. Um, just change the words around, everything. Um, so there's that. I really wasn't that interested in his promo. And he can't cut promos because he can only do the shoot promos. So yeah, and he tries to hype up his hair like fucking. This is the first time I've seen him with his fucking hair. You were fucking at Super Showdown, buddy. You forget about that. You were at Super Showdown. Um, we've seen you with the hair since, and it's obviously a continuity error. That just proves that that match at Super Showdown didn't matter, and you just suck. But yeah, this pissed me off. Um, John Cena just comes out and talks about 2018 and reflection, and he talks about why he's still here, and obviously he tries to do that whole thing with the Hollywood superstars thing. And he did have one good line out there where he talked about how Nikki Bella left him, which obviously, um, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. And he wonders which superstar is going to call him out, and who comes out there. Not He's because he was wondering what man. It was the man, Becky Lynch. Which I was obviously happy about this because um, it just was awesome. And Becky Lynch talks about how um, she asked John Cena how it feels to be in her win, and she talks about how she was constantly trying to get rid of Charlotte Flair off the posters, but she was trying to run John Cena's franchise. And she even talks about how she completely owns John Cena, talking about how Nikki Bella left him. Um, and then they get cut off, and Selena Vega and Andrade Cien almost interrupt, and they talk about how John Cena and Nikki and Becky Lynch old news, and that John Cena challenges them to a mixed tag team match, which I actually thought was fine. It was kind of a typical Cena match, like when he was in the match, where he just gets his ass kicked, and then um, Becky Lynch gets the hot tag, and then she does stuff, and then Cena does his 5 moves. Well, now his 6 moves with Doom because he has that shitty punch now, which looks like crap. And then Becky Lynch throws him out of the ring, and she puts the disarmer on him, on Selena Vega, and she taps out, and Cena tries to shake her hand and congratulate her, but Becky Lynch does the "you can't see me" in her face, and it was awesome. Becky Lynch was the highlight of the segment. Almas and Vega were just there. Cena sucked, and yeah, I thought this segment was pretty good because of Becky Lynch. Um, and then Shane McMahon and The Miz are backstage, and I guess The Miz is a babyface. I'm just not digging the storyline. The Miz just so much better than this, and they're trying to go over win attire ideas, and Shane McMahon's not liking any of it, and he leaves. I thought it was lame. And then Asuka's backstage, and Triple H comes up to her and wants to know who she wants to face for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And Charlotte Flair comes up and thinks she should have the match because she's Charlotte Flair, and that she would have won the championship at TLC if it wasn't for Ronda Rousey. Carmella comes up and says she should have the match, and she's beat both of them twice, and is a former SmackDown Women's Champion for 130 days. Becky Lynch comes up and wants the match because she's the man. So Triple H says they're going to take it under advisement, and I went on the WWE app just a little bit ago, and they did announce a triple threat match where the winner's going to face Asuka at the Royal Rumble. So I really don't know, I really don't know, like, who's going to face Asuka. I don't think it's going to be Carmella. I think she's going to be eat the fall, because it really depends. So what I think it depends on who wins this match, because whoever loses this match will be in the Women's Royal Rumble, and probably will win it. So I kind of hope Charlotte Flair wins, so that way Becky Lynch can open up the door for Becky Lynch to enter the Women's Royal Rumble and win the Women's Royal Rumble and challenge Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's title. But this kind of largely sucks in a way because Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair will not get their match, so I don't know what they're going to do with that. Maybe they're going to do something. Maybe they'll do a thing where they're going to unify the women's titles and have Charlotte Flair win the SmackDown Women's title at the Royal Rumble, and Becky Lynch would choose to face both of them at WrestleMania for the title. That actually would be kind of cool, but we'll have to wait and see. And then we had the Fatal 5-Way match where the winner becomes the #1 contender for the new Daniel Bryan's WWE Championship, which he was watching the match backstage. I think he was watching the TV properly. I don't know. We had Rey Mysterio versus Mustafa Ali versus Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. I thought this was a really good match. I definitely think it picked up a little bit towards the end. AJ Styles, I'm not going to go through this match spot for spot, just go over the stuff I remember. Definitely was very different, aggressive in this match. He was attacking people left and right, and I just thought he looked absolutely awesome in this match, and that kind of continued that storyline. Samoa Joe hit a really cool Uranagi onto AJ Styles through the announcer's table, which I thought was kind of a surprise because I didn't expect the table to break. And this was after Randy Orton had hit a back suplex on the Styles right on the apron, and Orton and Joe looked at each other like they wanted to face off, which I kind of hope they do that match maybe at some point. But that's the problem with that is it's heel versus heel, and I don't really think any of them's a turn right now, so maybe they're going to wait to do that match. I thought Mustafa Ali looked awesome in this match. He got to face off with Rey Mysterio, and he hit a Spanish fly on him off the turnbuckles. And he actually ended up beating a lot of the finishers. He ate the Corkina Clutch, the 619, and the RKO. I don't know if this was a little bit of a punishment for having the new Daniel Bryan have an injury scale, or if they just happen to have him in there for that. And Rey Mysterio had like a leg drop on Randy Orton. And eventually AJ Styles ends up winning the match with a springboard 450, which I kind of was surprised about. I figured they would give the win to Mustafa Ali because of all the momentum he had coming into this match. And I figured they were going to go in a new direction with AJ Styles and do this whole storyline with him. But I guess they're going to go with AJ and Bryan again, AJ Styles of the new Daniel Bryan again, which I'm alright with because they kind of have unfinished business together. So I think it makes sense to do that match, and maybe they can do Mustafa Ali maybe at Elimination Chamber or Fastlane because there's going to be 2 pay-per-views in between WrestleMania 35 again. I don't know why. I think that's stupid, but there's going to be. But I thought it was a hell of a match. I really enjoyed it. And I actually kind of can't wait to see what happens with this AJ Styles and the new Daniel Bryan feud now that they're going this whole new direction with AJ Styles. I don't think AJ Styles will win the title at the Royal Rumble, but I think they're going to do something with that. Maybe he'll get overzealous and it will cause him to lose the match. I think there's a lot of interesting things they can do. Because I think it's way too soon to take the title off the new Daniel Bryan. I think he should go into WrestleMania, maybe even past WrestleMania with the title, depending on who he faces. And that was pretty much SmackDown. I enjoyed SmackDown. I'm going to give it a B. I thought it was a really good show. I liked the New Day stuff. I liked everything they did with with the WWE Championship build-up with Joe versus Cody and then the Fatal 5-Way match. I liked Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura's segment. I hated the Cena return segment because Becky Lynch just made that work. The only things I didn't care for was the Naomi Mandy Rose match and the Miz Shane McMahon backstage segment. So those were the only things I didn't care for. I don't think I'm gonna upload my 205 live. I'm gonna upload this video tomorrow. I just want to go to bed at least somewhat at a decent time, and I mean it's midnight. It's a minute after midnight, so it's not a complete decent time. But I've been getting up later and stuff, so I'll have this video uploaded hopefully by tomorrow, which you'll probably see this. So the goal is for it to be uploaded by June 6, 2019. I don't know if it will be, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's pretty much the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. And that's at the end of the video, actually. I'm sorry. I jumped the gun. I forgot to give this SmackDown a rate, and I'll give it a B. I thought it was a really good show. If you had to ask me which one I enjoyed more, I think I enjoyed SmackDown a little bit more because Raw is a longer show, and I think SmackDown was just quicker to watch. But yeah, I'll be back with my 205 live review when I can get it up. Okay, so now it's January 6th, 2019. It's 3:37 p.m., and I'm here to give you guys my 205 live review. So I'm just going to get right into that. This 205 Live aired on January 2nd, 2019. I would imagine that it was taped the same night as SmackDown. The SmackDown and 205 Live are usually taped the same night or usually air the same night, whatever. And we had the first match. It was a Cruiserweight Championship Fatal 4-Way qualifying match because, as everybody knows, Buddy Murphy is defending his Cruiserweight Championship in a Fatal 4-Way match. And obviously, these next couple of episodes, or a couple of weeks, whatever, are going to be related into finding out who Buddy Murphy is going to defend his Cruiserweight Championship against. The first match was Kalisto with Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik versus Lio Rush. I thought this was a great match. I really enjoyed this match, and I just thought it was awesome. I really just can't put into words how great this match was. I would definitely recommend checking it out. And I forgot to mention, actually, that we had Nigel McGuinness, Vic Joseph, and Percy Watson on commentary for this show. Because I don't have it written in my notes because I just have a ton of 205 Lives written at once, and I didn't have it in my notes. But make sure to mention that now. But I liked in the beginning of the match how they both just showed how quick they were, with Lio Rush just constantly running away from Kalisto, and it just reminds you how quick Lio Rush is. And because Lio Rush slapped him in the face like right away, and Kalisto was like showing off his speed, and Lio Rush kind of rode out of the ring and kind of regained his composure. And then eventually Kalisto catches him when he hits a rolling Listo kick on him, which is just a regular Listo kick because I don't know how else he would hit that. And he dominates Lio Rush for a while, and then Lio Rush targets the ribs of Kalisto, and he really goes to work on Kalisto. I thought that was some pretty awesome stuff. Kalisto hits a really cool drop kick onto Lio Rush. He makes his comeback, and they hit a lot of really nice spots in this match. There was a spot that Lio Rush probably has that Kalisto's never really been able to hit because he's wrestled a lot of professional wrestlers that are probably bigger than him, so he's never really been able to lift people up. So he hit a really cool fall-away slam right onto Lio Rush, right off the middle turnbuckle. I thought that was awesome. And Lio Rush hit an awesome, like, spinning and prettier onto Kalisto, and I actually thought he was going to get him off that pinfall, but he didn't. So Lio Rush tried to get Kalisto counted out several times. He hit a really cool suicide dive on Kalisto. And then eventually he goes for the final hour on Kalisto, but Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik are using the noisemakers, I don't know what they call them, to try to rally Kalisto up, and it distracts Lio Rush, as it should because they're noisy. And he kicks it out of Lince Dorado's hand, and Lio Rush tries to egg Lince Dorado to hit him because if he knows that if Lince Dorado hits him, Kalisto will lose the match by DQ and he'll go to the Royal Rumble. And Grand Metalik is trying to hold him back, but then eventually this ends up costing Lio Rush in the end, and Kalisto hits the Salida del Sol on him for the win, and Kalisto advances into the Fatal 4-Way match. Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese were watching this matchup backstage, and Tony Nese has one of those shakes where you just shake it in like a cup, and it becomes a shake, obviously, because that's what a shake is. And I mentioned that because there's a funny moment about that later on. But Buddy Murphy looks very confident. He doesn't really look too impressed. And I thought it made sense for Kalisto to advance. And I don't really think Lio Rush looked bad by losing this matchup, considering the fact that he lost via interference, and they just both competitors just put on such a great performance. It really could have gone either way. What I think is going to happen now is that Lio Rush is going to get into a feud with the Lucha House Party, probably at first Lince Dorado, and then maybe, I don't think Kalisto is going to win the Cruiserweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. I think, once Kalisto kind of gets out of that 4-way match, They'll do Leo Rush versus Kalisto again, and I think Leo Rush will get his win back. And like I talked about before, Leo Rush really doesn't need this win because he's doing big things on the main roster anyways. And I don't really see him really ever contending for the Cruiserweight Championship, probably, because I think they kind of want him to be separate from that. But I think he will be there as like a name value because he's aligned with Bobby Lashley and stuff. So I actually don't really have an issue with it. And then Drew Gulak and Gentleman Jack Gallagher are backstage. And Drew Gulak, I think, got interviewed by Kayla Braxton, but I don't remember who it was because they all look the same to me. And she gets asked, like, if he feels like an underdog because he lost the street fight a couple episodes ago. And Drew Gulak says that that he's not an underdog because Kendrick and Gallagher, when they beat us in that street fight, really didn't win anything, but they just proved they were better fighters. Gulak's more of a wrestler. He proved that he's a better wrestler than them. So that was that. I thought it was a very good promo when he said that he's going to make Tozawa tap or snap. And then Akira Tozawa and Brian Kendrick are training backstage. I thought it was very funny. And then Drake Maverick does a backstage promo talking about the state of 205 Live in 2019, how a lot of new faces could come in, which I'm really excited about that. I wonder what new faces will come in. Maybe I'll do a video talking about that. And then we had the main event. It was a Cruiserweight Championship Fatal 4-Way qualifying match. Akira Tozawa versus Drew Gulak. What was funny about this is it shows Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese. And Tony Nese is still shaking that shake. Like, it wouldn't take 30 minutes, because it was like 30 minutes into the show, to shake a shake that much, unless he had like 2 of them. So I was kind of laughing my ass off about that. But I thought they had a hell of a Cruiserweight match. I think what really made this match is they utilized the fact that they wrestled before, and they kind of utilized that to their advantage, where they would try to go for those signature moves, but Gulak and Tozawa would be ready for their moves ahead of time, which I obviously liked because it makes sense, because when you wrestle somebody enough, you're obviously going to know their moves way far in advance. Gulak, though, targets the back of Tozawa by throwing him into the barricade, and obviously he really goes after the back of Akira Tozawa. And then Tozawa mounts a comeback. He hits a head scissors, knocking Gulak out of the ring. And he goes for a suicide dive, but Gulak sees it coming, so he hits a back suplex into a wheel kick. And he goes for the senton, but Gulak fights out of it. He power bombs him into the... Well, he hits a buckle bomb in the corner, I guess is what you call it. And then he hits a wicked clothesline on Tozawa. Tozawa kicks out. And then Tozawa gets Gulak into the octopus stretch. And Gulak reverses it into a horse collar, which is pretty much where the wrestler takes his leg and stretches it, like the back of the leg, and stretches it against the back of his head. I like the fact that Nigel was out there to call that commentary spot because I never knew the name of that move. And Tozawa gets the ropes, and then Tozawa hits goes for the senton, but then Gulak, when he goes for it, turns it into the Gulak. And Tozawa rolls over to the ropes, and Tozawa hits a suplex on the floor and hits a suicide dive on the outside on Gulak, and then he goes for the senton again, and Drew Gulak stops him, and Gulak breaks his rule about no fly zone and tries to do a superplex off the top turnbuckle, just because he really wants to, fight for the Cruiserweight Championship, so I thought that made sense. But it costs Gulak, and Tozawa fights out of it. He knocks him off the top turnbuckle, and he hits the senton on him for the win. And Tozawa now advances into the Fatal 4-Way match. And afterwards, he celebrates with Brian Kendrick. And I actually like the way they did this finish. I do like that I think it fits Gulak's gimmick that when he actually tries to break his rules, it ends up costing him. Because that's kind of how real life happens. Like the person that's usually the good person that always follows the rules, when they finally break the rules, they're the ones that get caught, or it ends up hurting them in the end. So I actually kind of like the way they did that. Afterwards, they did 2 backstage segments building up, which obviously is this upcoming week's, but the next episode's Fatal 4-Way qualifying match between Cedric Alexander and Hideo Itami. Cedric Alexander did one talking about how he's eager to get back his Cruiserweight Championship, and he said that he's going to beat Hideo Itami just like he did before. And then Hideo Itami and Naoya Deboe do a promo talking about how Hideo Itami is not the same person that Cedric Alexander beat before. He's a different, more hungrier superstar now, and he's going to destroy Cedric Alexander. And he even brought up the fact that, he's that Cedric he admires that Cedric's had a lot of setbacks, and he's even and then his only friend Mustafa Ali left him for SmackDown. I like the fact that they brought that up, and then that was pretty much the end of the show. I like the fact that they kind of build to that match next week, or this week, whatever. Which I'm looking forward to that match. And I think I don't think Cedric is going to lose that match, but you never know because I actually didn't think Gulak was going to lose the match with Tozawa, and he did. So, yeah, that was pretty much the most recent episode of 205 Live, which is obviously last week's because it's Sunday today. And I gotta say, I thought this was a great episode. I thought the matches were great, and I really enjoyed because that was kind of really the whole focus of the show was the Fatal 4-Way match. And now we do know that Buddy Murphy is gonna defend his Cruiserweight Championship against Kalisto, Akira Tozawa, and the winner of Cedric Alexander versus Hideo Itami. And I actually think they actually should have Cedric Alexander win because the whole storyline of that match is that Buddy Murphy wants to prove that he is the best Cruiserweight champion in the world, having like one of the three top faces, having the three top faces in the Cruiserweight division in that match and him winning that match would make him look really impressive. So I actually think that is what's going to happen. And then obviously I think Buddy Murphy will go. I actually think he's going to go into WrestleMania with the Cruiserweight Championship. But more on that later. But that's pretty much the end of this video. Actually, no, it's not the end of the video. That's pretty much the end of the 205 Live review portion of the video. If I had to grade this show, I'm going to give it a B+. I thought it was a great show. I actually enjoyed the show more than Raw and SmackDown. I think maybe because 205 Live is shorter than Raw and SmackDown, it just had a nice simple, storyline throughout the show. So I just enjoyed it a lot. I can't wait to see what the future of 205 Live will be in 2019. So excited about that. I'm going to watch Main Event now and give you guys my review of that. Okay, so now we have Main Event for the same date, January 2nd, 2019. Before I actually start reviewing the show, I do want to mention that they did dedicate this episode of Main Event as well as 205 Live to Mean Gene Okerlund, who recently just passed away. He actually passed away on Wednesday. Um, the way I heard that he passed away was that he had a really bad fall, and then he got injured ribs, and then I think this was back in December, a couple of weeks before he passed away, and then what happened was I think he had some sort of scare again, and made it to they went to the hospital, and he passed away. So it's very unfortunate loss for the wrestling business. Moments of him I remember is, obviously the infamous segment when the Godly Googler debuted because he was there for that, and how entertaining he was there. His training segment with Hulk Hogan when he was going to do a one-off match, teaming up with Sheamus to face Daniel Bryan and Alberto Del Rio, and obviously doing that big legend segment. The recent interview he did with AJ Styles, him going to WCW, being followed by Bobby the Brain Heenan, and him being surprised, and he's like, "Well, I work here," because they always follow each other. Him commentating the gimmick battle royal at WrestleMania 17, and him doing that interview at the Royal Rumble, and him screaming, "Put that cigarette out." And obviously his appearances on Legends House. I think what everyone will remember of him is when you always saw him, he always had like a positive outlook, and you always felt very positive about things that happened. So those would be moments I remember of him. They did the same thing for 205 Live, and I feel bad, but I forgot to talk about it, but I made sure to touch on it here. They're doing a memorial service for him. Not a service, but like a memorial tribute episode to him on Raw this Monday where Hulk Hogan's going to appear, which I think is obviously the right thing to do. But now that I did that, let's talk about Main Event. We had Nigel McGuinness, Vic Joseph, and Percy Watson on commentary for this show. And the first match was Titus O'Neil versus Kurt Hawkins. They just had a match. Titus O'Neil won with Clash of the Titus. It is intriguing to watch Kurt Hawkins wrestle, though, because now he's at 248 losses, and now he's at 249 consecutive losses since he lost this match. But it's, you're interested to see if he actually is going to get a win. And I really hope that the night after WrestleMania 35, he gets a win, because I think the crowd will go crazy if he actually wins a match that night. But it was very interesting that they had him wrestle like a heel in this match. I thought that was just weird, because he's easily a babyface. But yeah, they had a match and Titus O'Neil won. And then you had the main event of main event, the Revival versus Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. They had a good tag team match. I liked watching the Revival, and I thought Breeze and Ryder had fine chemistry as a team. It was about the type of match you would expect them to have. And then the Revival win with Shattered Machine on Tyler Breeze, which makes sense since they're, challenging for the Raw Tag Team titles on Raw this week. And then that was pretty much main event. I was going to be generous and give this show a C, because it was actually not that bad. I've seen worse episodes of main event that are just there. But, and there's always that but, Hulu was a pain in the ass because it would pause and lag every 10 seconds. So I'm actually going to just say it was an average show and give it a C minus because of Hulu. I'm guessing Hulu has some bugs going on right now, hopefully. I hope these problems are fixed next week when they actually have a main event again. But yeah, it gets a C minus because of Hulu. So and I tried everything. I switched Wi-Fi connections. I switched my positioning of the computer, where it was, and I also cleared my browsing history twice on Google Chrome. So something was wrong with Hulu. So yeah, that sucked. So I'm giving main event a C minus. And that's pretty much the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Now I'm officially caught up on the main roster portion of WWE. I'm going to work on catching up on NXT UK and NXT throughout the next couple of days. And then I'll fully be caught up on the WWE programming, and I can actually do some actual videos on this channel. That's pretty much the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell, so that way every time I upload a video, you guys will get the notifications for it. Make sure you check out, CM Brothers and on the Talking to YouTube channels, because I just uploaded some videos on there last night. So make sure you guys check those out. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.